going to be pressure canning some beets. So I already have a vlog about pickled beets, but this is just processing the beets in their more natural state with no sugar, no vinegar added. So beets are a low acid vegetable, so they need to be pressure canned if you're not adding anything to it to be safe. So I'm going to be pressure canning these beets today. Now I don't have a big batch. Probably about 4 bottles worth, because this is something new. I've never tried preserving beets by pressure canning and to eat later on. So I didn't want to make 12 bottles of it and it not be something that I really like. So I'm just making a small batch. And if I really like it, then next time I'll make a much larger batch. So all my prep work is pretty much done. So these beets have been thoroughly washed with a good brush. They've been cooked for about 45 minutes. Then the peels removed. And all cut up. If you're not sure about how to really prepare your beets, go check out my vlog on pickled beets, and it's much more detailed step by step on how to really prepare your beets. I've also got my pressure canner warming up, my water and jars warming up, so all that's going. If you're not familiar with how to pressure can, I do have a kind of pressure canning tutorial as well, a vlog. It's called Pressure Canning 101. I do suggest that you check that out. It goes into a lot of detail, much more detail on how to safely pressure can anything that you're trying to make. So let's get started by putting these in the bottle. So I've got my hot beets. I'm going to get my hot bottle, my hot water, and put everything together. As usual, we've got everything nice and hot. I also have my sealing caps heating in the pot. So let's start by filling these jars. So for the beets, we need to leave 1 inch headspace. So 1 inch on top of the bottle, that's not full with the beets. Once we've added our beets, for the 500 milliliter, the pint jars, we are going to add half a teaspoon of your sea salt, pickling salt, not your regular table salt. That's not appropriate for pressure canning. And then you fill your jars with the hot water, leaving your generous 1 inch headspace. As usual, you're going to take your tool to remove the air bubbles from inside the jar, making sure not to burn yourself since everything's really hot. And then you readjust your liquids as needed. So the liquid has gone down a little bit. I'll just add a little more. Remember to always wipe the rim of your jars to make sure that your sealing caps seal properly to your bottle. And then I'm going to go get my hot sealing lids from the pot. And you center these lids on top of the jar. Then you take your ring and you put them on your jars. And you just tighten them fingertip tight. Then you place them in your pressure canner. And you proceed until you've got all your jars filled. Now that I've filled all my jars, I am going to place the cover on top of the pot by aligning the arrows. Sealing it shut. Turning up the heat. Now this has to come to a good boil. Once my pot has been thoroughly vented for 10 minutes, then I'll put the weighted gauge on top of on the vent and let the pressure build up until 10 to 11 pounds of pressure. Only then do I start timing. It takes 30 minutes to pressure can beets. As you can see, I have some other beets back here. Those are pickled beets that I did this morning, but I can't touch them for 24 hours, so that's why they're still there. I have a good strong stream of steam coming out of the pot. Here I feel it. My button has come up, so now I'm going to vent my canner for 10 minutes. Now that we've vented the pressure canner for 10 minutes, we are going to add the weighted gauge and start building the pressure. It's very important to keep a close eye on the gauge to make sure that you control your pressure. I start reducing the heat on my stove. When I get somewhere around the 7 to 8 pounds of pressure, I start to gradually reduce the pressure on the stove. Now that I have reached 11 pounds of pressure, I am going to time this for 30 minutes while I continue to monitor it to make sure that the pressure doesn't go up too high. Minutes have passed. We're going to start by turning off our stove and removing it from the heat. Now we need to leave it on the stovetop untouched. What is going to happen now is that the pressure dial is going to slowly descend. Once that goes to 0, following a little bit of time, maybe 10 to 20 minutes, this button will drop. Once this button drops, we then remove the weighted gauge from the vent and wait for 10 more minutes. The pressure gauge has gone down to 0 and the button has dropped, so we're going to remove the gauge and time another 10 minutes. We can now safely remove the cover from our pressure canner. Be careful when opening it. There's still lots of steam in it, so lift the cover away from your face so as that you don't get the steam on your face. Now we have to leave the bottles in the canner again for another 10 minutes, so just time another 10 minutes. We're almost done. The 10 minutes are up, so now we're going to carefully remove our jars from the canner. Remember, you need to put them in a place where they're going to remain untouched for the next 24 hours. Use a jar lifter. Always keeping your bottles upright. After the 24 hours are up, we'll be able to make sure that our bottles have all sealed properly. 24 hours are up. My jars have successfully sealed. All my caps are well sealed. The next thing we need to do is to remove the ring from the top. We don't seal our bottles with the rings on it, so we remove these, wash them, and store them for the next time we need rings. Don't forget to write on it what your product is. It's going to be really important for me for these beets because I have pickled beets and I have regular beets, so they look exactly the same. So I really have to be sure to identify well what's inside my bottles and the date. Once your bottles have properly sealed, you can wipe them down so that you don't put them away sticky. You can keep your preserved bottles for up to a year in a nice, cool, clean, dry environment, usually where it's a little bit darker, anywhere between 50 to 70 degrees or 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. And They should last for about a year. Never stack your bottles one on top of the other. Always leave them on a single layer so that stacking them can affect the seal of your bottles. If you like this content, if you like this vlog, check out my other vlogs. I have lots of other subjects out there. If there's some things that you'd like to see, put them in the comment section and I'll try to see what I can do. Share the videos if you like them, subscribe to my channel, and check in to see what the next project will be.